I'll see you after a while.
Hey guys, Cody Kemp here, live in the Geared Pro Corner. Tonight we've got Mr. Mark Davis and Mr. Stephen Browning here with us. I'm going to go, he's right over here. Yeah. There he is. We're going to go through a few good topics tonight. So again, guys, remember to get involved in the show, like it, share it. Ask questions, get involved to win the prizes. Asking questions gets you different packs from our partners, Strike King, Costa Sunglasses, Motivated Fishing, Jig Suey, Daiwa, and Phoenix Rods. And then tonight we also have, as usual, the mystery box for sharing it. We'll randomly pick someone who shares the show tonight, and they'll win that. Tonight up for grabs again, tackle packs from all of our partners and the mystery box. So last week's winners, Mr. David Young won one of the tackle packs. Brent McWhorter, John Sanner, and they all won tackle packs from last week. And then Jared Arnold mentioned the Keith's success, make the Classic, Forcewood Cup, and the All-American all in the same year, which was pretty neat. So Jared Arnold, you win the real grips from Win Grips. So congrats there, buddy. So again, tonight we're going to talk about the big announcement, Major League Fishing with their Bass Pro Tour announcement. It's going to be a big deal, sounds like. But Mark Davis is in the know. He's ready to answer some of your questions tonight. If you want to get on here and ask him, try to answer as many of them as he can. And get going there. And Stephen Browning going to tell us a little bit about Logan Martin and his finish there, and getting to the championship, what he expects on Table Rock in the championship, and maybe a little bit about Bo Browning, his boy, making it right there with him. So we'll talk about ABTT, the River Rumble, right there in Camden. I finished second in that. We'll talk about that there a little bit. Mr. Bass this weekend, and a little bit about Lake Dardanelle and fall fishing. And then BFL Super Tournament next week. I know Mark McWall it's gonna be his last Arky tournament, and he'll be in here next week on the show, hopefully, to give us a little preview there. But without any more wait, we'll go ahead and get Mr. Mark Davis to give us the first rundown from your mouth on what MLF and what this Bass Pro Tour is.
Well, to give, most of us that are fishing fans probably know what MLF is, but that thing started 7 years ago, pretty much as a dream of about a dozen anglers, and we partnered with Outdoor Channel, and we started, the MLF tournament deal, and we've had only 5 tournaments a year now for 7 years. Actually, the first year we fished only 2. Second year we fished 2. The cup events, that's what most of us are used to seeing. Then we added the selects, which they qualified guys to get into the cups. So there were 4 of those. In the last 3 years, we've had a championship, which was, the 2 cup events, the top 12 fished in a championship. So that was the platform that we built it on for the past 7 years, and we this is simply the next stage, a new platform. So now we're going to have 80 guys. We're going to fish 8 tour events, and then some cups. And I can't divulge everything, but there is a lot of events that people are screaming they want more MLF on television. Well, there's going to be more MLF on television, but there is a new tour. It's going to be an 8-man field. We're going pretty much like what we've always done with other professional tours. We're going all over the country. So,
what helped y'all decide, or what made y'all decide on 80, the number 80?
80 works well, and I said I wasn't going to divulge the format, but the format that we're going to use, I can tell you that 80 works, and it's still made for television. So, as you know, and I'll tell you quite a bit about it right here without even really divulging the format. If you've got cameramen and you've got boat officials. Well, if you've got a 100-man field, you've got to have 100 trained boat officials. That's a major undertaking. Obviously, we can't have 100, cameramen.
Right.
the production cost on that would be more than a Walt Disney movie. So we can't do that either. So 80 is the number that fits the format that we're going to work with, and it's an elimination thing. It's made for TV, and that's the number that works.
Yeah. So 80. I mean, you can't tell us everything about it, but I think it's it's always interesting. I know there's going to be 70 or so from the BASS, and then I think 10 from FLW. I think is what it told us in the I guess write up. What was the reasons behind that? Picking 70 from one and then 10 from another. Was there anything that you can divulge there?
I don't think there's any. I don't know if there's. I've not seen the list.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's actually 10 from FLW. It could be more. I do know that the 80 guys that were selected, just like in the beginning of Major League Fishing, there's business partners here, and no one guy has the say so as to who gets invited.
Right,
so
right.
You've got to start from somewhere. Now in the future, by the way, there will be qualifying events that can put anyone into Major League Fishing. But to get it started, this is pretty much a clean slate. The original 24 of us were picked. They were picked. These 80 are pretty much picked, but they're picked. I think the business partners look at it and they try to pick 80 guys that they felt like could best suit the format and could best grow the company.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I don't, whether they're from Bass or FLW or,
Yeah.
I don't think that really has anything to do with it.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's cool. We all love MLF. We all watch it. The only thing I don't really like about the MLF is having to wait so long to figure out, how someone did. So is anything like that going to change with the new format?
I can't say. I can tell you there will be some new and some old.
Yeah.
There will be some new. There's going to be more events. All these tour events aren't going to be exactly like these cup events that we've done in the past. But it is a television product.
Yeah.
So I can tell you there will be. It's not going to all be like it has, and it's not going to be all brand new either.
Right.
It's going to be a mixture.
So so you can't say if we'll see some live.
The thing about professional angling and it's Major League Fishing without a doubt is it's the hottest brand going. It's made for television, and I think the reason folks really like to watch it, you really get to watch the angler. You get to hear him talk. You kind of get in his head what he's thinking. You get a lot of interaction between the anglers on the water, so that makes it unique. The part about it being, obviously, we have to sign a non-disclosure when we fish. To get that kind of a show, it has to be produced. There's tons of footage that they go through, and they put that show together. So, live is good. But it depends on what you want. I mean, if you want that kind of a production, it obviously can't be live.
Right.
People they've eat it up. So I mean, their sponsors, MLF sponsorship is just through the roof. So,
Right.
It's the #1 rated show, not just fishing show. It is the #1 rated show on the Outdoor Channel.
Yeah.
And by the way, it will be on 6 networks: CBS, CBS Sports, Outdoor Channel, WFN, help me, Sportsman,
Okay. So
and Discovery. There's the
Discovery
6th one.
Channel. Okay.
There's the 6th one. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. I mean,
Yeah.
so bringing in partners, that haven't ever really, been involved with the industry, as far as Discovery Channel, and I don't think they've ever done much on fishing,
Right.
But that's a neat thing to hear for sure. Guys, make sure ask us questions, ask Mark questions if you have any on the new tour, anything that's you've been pondering about what's going on. I've got another one. Evan, you guys jump in too, but I've got another one. Right now you don't have a schedule out, or they don't have a schedule out. Do you know when maybe they'll be coming out with the actual schedule?
It just hasn't been released yet. Everything's pretty much ready to go. Date certainly. There's still some loose ends to tie up on some of the sites, but it's pretty much ready to go. But it's not. The
Done.
trigger's been pulled, okay, but that's stay tuned.
Do you think there's going to be any conflicts?
Conflicts with other tours?
Other
No,
big
I don't.
major
I don't
tours?
think so.
No.
I don't think so. Now I will say this: if you're going to fish MLF, I can promise you, you're probably not going to have time to fish anything else.
Right.
So there might as well be conflicts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. That's just like the days of fishing BASS and FLW are beyond us. There's too much fishing. There's no way to, So there's, I don't know. You've got to.
Get from point A to point B.
That's
in a-
right.
In a timely manner to be competitive.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I know it. Whenever the schedule came out for BASS for this year, I know there was a lot of groans and complaint. It's all the way across the nation and so on. Do you think? Again, you can't divulge, but do you think it's going to be on normal lakes? Is it going to be on lakes that we've seen in the past, or is it going to be new stuff? Is it going to be new lakes that we haven't seen really in other tours?
It'll be some of both. There'll be some lakes that we're going to try to go to the best fisheries.
And
Now,
only
here-
being
now-
80 though, it opens up a little bit.
It opens up, and I really wished I could tell you.
Yeah.
I really wished I could tell you the format, but I will say this: the format on many of these events will allow us to fish even smaller bodies of water, and that really opens up a lot of possibilities. You're not looking at having to go to a Washoe or a Sam Rayburn. You think about how many lakes that we have across the country that are 5,000 to 7,000 acres.
Yeah.
That 20
Well,
boats.
Hamilton, I mean,
Yeah.
80 boats would be great on,
Yeah.
like a Lake de Gray. I mean, and there's all kinds of lakes that, really good.
And no one, I never said there were going to be 80 boats
Yeah,
out there on the water at one time.
Understood. But that's so we know it's going to be new. Whitewater Marine is the main sponsor, the main big sponsor. So it's a Triton, Ranger, Nitro. Those three.
Johnny Morris is a big supporter of Major League Fishing. He has been. And I really think Johnny has embraced it from the standpoint of the conservation part of it. And we don't haul fish in live wells.
Yeah.
We catch a fish, he's weighed, recorded, and he's back in the water usually in 90 seconds.
Yeah.
It's about how long it takes. So Johnny has embraced that big time, from its inception. So he's a big supporter, and I don't have a list of major league sponsorships, but it's a bunch.
Yeah.
It's a bunch. But Johnny's a big time supporter of Major League Fishing.
There's a question here from Nick Warden. He's wanting to know, will this be better for the angler as far as making a living overall? Will you guys have your own sponsorship just like now, or will it be through MLF, similar to it is now, the way it is now?
To answer that question, it will be both. You will still have your own boat, your own sponsors, your own jersey, and then there will be some events where you will be in another boat. So it's both.
Yeah.
The answer is both. Yes, it'll be better, and that's beneficial because you've got your own sponsors, you're in your own boat, and then at times, you're going to get the advantage of a lot of added sponsorship dollars, and you may fish out of someone else's boat. But everyone gets to play.
Yeah. I've been watching, what MLF has done for a while now, and I think they've gotten to a point where they're popular enough, and it's interesting enough, and there's so many people, spectators, that are wanting to watch this. If they converted to a live type event, I think there becomes a point where you can charge admission. You can charge, download an app. You can pay $9.99 for something, something like that would generate a massive amount of revenue that could go toward anglers and the MLF. So is that something that you've heard maybe in the inklings of at some point if we reach this level of maturity or growth, that we could actually have spectators and maybe a admission price.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say this: the word live has came up quite a bit, you know, in our discussions. But first and foremost, I'll reiterate, you know, this show that's red hot right now, and we know that shows. You look at Duck Dynasty. Duck Dynasty was red hot for a while, but what happened to Duck Dynasty? Still a great show, but it's not as popular as it was. That is typical with any television show. So you have to be open-minded, and you have to give the viewer, the fan, what they want. Right now, they want MLF television.
Yeah.
So we're aware of those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you know, live is great. You know, there's a lot of things you can. And, hey, technology's changing daily, and it's also getting more affordable. So as time goes on, you know, live's going to be part of it, I'm sure.
Yeah. A question here from Rick Cole. Do you foresee all tournaments on the elite level going to a MLF style format where they weigh them in the boat, or do you think this is just something that MLF will maintain?
I could only guess. I think that catch, weigh, and release in the boat is the future of our sport, without a doubt. Now, will everyone embrace that in the future? I think eventually they will have to. Immediately, probably not. You know, I know Bass already. What do they call that, Stephen? What they're doing one now at
Yeah.
this one year
Yeah,
where they
it's,
that
on
classic
the,
bracket or
Yeah.
Well, no.
No,
Oh,
what is
well,
it?
yeah. They
Oh,
do
it's
that
the,
on the classic.
Well, they do
Yeah.
the Toyota
They do
Texas Fest.
yeah, the Texas Fest.
Texas
But see,
Fest.
the Texas Fest was an OPAA event.
Yeah.
Right.
That we did on Fork, and you had to throw them back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's how that started.
You get to keep one
Yeah.
fish,
Yeah.
you know, per day, your biggest fish,
Yeah.
if it meets certain criteria.
You know, I was thinking today, what's going to happen when the day comes that we go buy a new bass boat and there's no live well in it?
Yeah.
Right.
Think about that.
Right.
Think about
no
that.
flat bottom.
I mean, if
Man, wanna keep some, put 'em
if
in
tournaments
ice
go
chest.
to, but you know, think about it. State agencies love this. They love it because you know it's promoting catch and release, and it's clean and it looks. I mean, they of course you got to realize that MLF television, you know, you a fish's tail touches the carpet, you get a 2-minute penalty, and that's all about fish care, and it's also about drama for television, but. It's all about conservation and fish care, and like I said, that's why Johnny Morris has embraced this thing. But I was thinking today, you know, when is the day going to come when we're going to go buy a bass boat and there's not a live well, a tournament bass boat?
Right.
Because I mean, you know, if you want to eat them, you can throw them on ice.
Right.
Well, you still got crappie fishing.
Well, yeah,
What if I catch a walleye?
I throw them on ice. I don't have a live well in my Big John boat. There is no live well.
Right.
If he hits the ice, we know where he's going.
Here's the one that we were gonna have this one in there. This is the one we knew was gonna come up, and we can all talk about this one. What effects do we think this will have on bass and FLW? I'll start on that one. To me, I mean, competition in the industry is good. A competition in any industry is good, and I think it's going to make the other guys get better because they know that there's someone out there that is working at it, working hard at it, and they're going to, if they don't, then they're going to die, and it's adapt or die. And I think the other tours have done great for many years. They've kind of gotten stuck in a rut of how they've always done things. In here recently, they went to live and stuff, but to me, this is going to be something that is going to force the whole industry to make a big step forward. It's going to be messy for a little while, maybe a year or 2 years, but ultimately, it's going to be a big step forward for the industry in a good direction. So. I won't say better direction because I think it's on a good path, but it's going to be a big step forward in a good direction. I'll go to Stephen Browning after that.
Well, I honestly don't think that it's going to affect Bass or FLW in the long run. I think that they will do some changes, make some changes that they deem necessary to I don't know if you want to call the word compete, but to kind of keep up with the times. I do foresee Bass, being that the majority of the anglers that were involved in this are coming from the Bass Elite group, that they're going to have to make some type of changes to kind of keep up, so to speak. And if those changes are good changes, then I don't think they're going to get behind the 8 ball too bad. But if they kind of relax and hope that things are all going to work out on its own, I don't think that's going to happen. FLW has and both of these organizations totally have different business plans, different formats of what they think works in the industry, and they both have been very successful. But with the new MLF coming aboard, we're going to see some different things surface, and I think that if they take off running full bore, then by gosh, either you catch up with them or you're going to get left behind. So that's going to be one of those things that is kind of a wait and see of what the people, the owners of Bass and the owners of FLW, how they react to it. So it'll be very interesting to see, without a doubt. I do like the fact that the MLF is a catch, weigh, and release type of formats. There's some events that that I don't like being at certain venues at certain times when the fish are vulnerable to long rides back to the weigh-ins, and I think there's a chance that maybe Bass might implement some of that catch, weigh, and release too. I mean, there's some really good events that could probably benefit from fisheries, especially, that could benefit from from doing that type of format. So it's as an angler on the outside looking in, it's kind of a wait and see. Throw out a few of your opinions, and maybe one will stick. If not, it's just going to be a decision making process over the next few weeks or months, or I don't know any time frames or anything. So it's just from my perspective, it's just a kind of a wait and see.
Mark?
Well, first of all, I'd say if there is damage done, that was never MLF's intent.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, I think it's also important to note that, BAS, and I'll start with BAS, as I spent most of my career, 33 years there with Bass. So, you look at the company of Bass, there are a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I mean, they're not only pro anglers, they're high school guys, they've got a college program, they've got a whole lot of stuff going on. So is it going to hurt them? It may change. It may change the way they do business a little bit, but to say it's going to hurt them, I don't think it's going to hurt them. Are they going anywhere? Bass is not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. Ray started that company, back in the late 60s, and it's changed ownership several times. Things change. Competition is good. Change is good. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there may be some collateral damage where they have to change. That's pretty much what Stephen mm-hmm. was saying. But like I said, Bass is a lot. I mean, they got a lot of programs going on that I will say this, and maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you're a professional league, if you get on that computer and you pull up the National Football League, you don't see high school, you don't see college, you don't see semi-pro, you don't see Canadian Football League. It's National Football League, and that's kind of where MLF's at. They're going to be the major league of the sport. Yeah. And they're not going to try to be everything to everybody. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. That's just a different business model. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be the major league, if you're going to be the NFL of bass fishing, I don't think you need to try to be all the other stuff. I mean, I'm not knocking bass for that. I'm just saying, you look at every professional sport, they don't trickle down into everything else. And I'll get on my soapbox for a minute. High school fishing. Steve and I both have sons involved in high school fishing. There is not a good platform for high school fishing. There's not a little league. I'm using little league as an example. There's not a little league that has founded and give a good base foundation for high school bass fishing. Now, it's kind of all over the map right now because it's kind of new. But someone needs to do that. But it doesn't need to be one of our leagues. That's just my opinion. Does not need to be bass. Doesn't need to be MLF. They need their own thing, just like Little League Baseball. I'll get off my soapbox.
Yeah, no, I've said that for a little while, is that it's a Wild West, and it's obvious. But that goes right into one of the questions Roger Keller asked, if there would be. No, it wasn't Roger. It was Dylan J. Stevens. Dylan Stevens asked, would MLF ever be having a BFL type circuit? And I think you answered that with, they're going to focus on being the major league right now. Now, maybe down the road there could be something, but
well, there has to be a feeder system.
Yeah.
Now, that's to be decided. There's going to be a feeder system. These 80 guys that's going in can't. I'm not going to fish forever. I mean, I'm going to say something I'm not supposed to say if I'm not real careful. But I will tell you, there's a time frame to where the bottom tier of guys in the points is going to fall out, and some new guys are going to come in. I mean, that's only healthy. You're not grandfathered in there forever, so there has to be something, either from another league or from within your league, to qualify guys into your tour. Yeah. So that's all forthcoming.
Okay. Any other questions on that one? There was one more. Nicholas Warden had a comment. I thought it was pretty funny. Evan, you can comment on this if you want, but because I know we talked about it earlier in the week. Seems FLW adapted to the rumors of what MLF was by increasing the early entry priority and the deadline with an increase in entry fees without an increase in payout. So what are your thoughts there?
I don't know. No comment, I guess. But no, when something like this, there were so many rumors going around. There were so many people talking about it. Nobody really knew exactly what was going to happen. You can't really make plans as an angler, as far as next year and what you're going to do until you know what's going to happen. I mean, they literally just got 80 guys that you had no idea were going to be missing, from either tour. You didn't really know if it was going to be 40 and 40 or 50 and 60. So, I mean, I don't really know the reason behind, them asking us to, have the deposits in earlier than normal and increasing the entry fees and keeping the pay the same. I really don't know. But what I was going to say about the future of all the sports or all the tours is, I think it's a win-win situation for the angler. I think that so many anglers are going to benefit from this happening. One, just allowing new guys, new faces to come into FLW and to bass, hopefully, unless they go the route of completely cutting numbers, to replace, the guys that are gone. I think it's going to give guys, a guy that would normally not be able to, make that step or make that jump, they're going to be able to fish now. And I think that's a good thing for guys to be able to get involved if they, it's a dream of a lot of us, and I think that's a great thing. I don't usually get into the politics of the numbers and winnings and all that stuff, but I believe that just from what I've heard about MLF, the payouts and the pay scale and everything like that is going to be so much that we've never seen before. And like we said, I believe that it's going to require Bass and FLW to step up and to do something to make them as attractive or try to be, you know, try to compete or whatever word you want to use for it. So I think it's a win-win for the anglers, no doubt, and sponsors too. I mean, for everybody, honestly, I think so.
Well, I mean, one thing, like with FLW and BASS, being as old organizations as they are, from my old career, being a lean consultant or you know, saving companies money and so on, you can see a lot of fat in both organizations, and there's so many mouths to feed and so much money that it takes to run those organizations the way they are. With MLF being new, I see a bigger opportunity that they have all these sponsors and even more than, say, the other two trails. They're able to share that much more, you know, spread across the anglers versus the other two. So I think the payouts, you know, that's part of it, is being more lean, more, you know, efficient at running your trail than some of the other ones. Mark, do you know any of the things that they've done maybe to try to make sure that, you know, they spread more, I guess, of the earnings and marketing stuff to the anglers over what you've seen in the past?
Well, the major difference, we've talked about a lot of things about MLF, but one of the major differences is Bass and FLW are both, they're profit centers. They're privately held companies. They're making all the money they can make. I don't blame them.
No,
If I own them, I do
yeah.
the same thing. That's capitalism. MLF is controlled largely by a big handful of anglers. Those anglers they take that money, that profit, and instead of putting it in their pocket, it goes into the purse. That is a big difference. That has been the difference with Major League Fishing all along, is that I'm one of those anglers, and we take profits, and instead of going in the bank account, into someone's bank account, it goes into the purse, and that alone. So I'm saying that to say this: the sky is the limit. The sky's the limit. Yeah, Stephen over there. How much, if we had to go to California right now and pay a $5,000 entry fee, tell me how much, if you go out there and just make a check and you get, well, let's get on paper, you get $10,000, how much money did you make that week?
$384,
Maybe.
maybe. Yeah.
That's the problem with, that's where we've been. It looks good on paper.
Right.
Oh, he
Right.
won $10,000. Yeah, but I spent $10,500.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and that's the problem. You know, so with it being angler controlled, it sets it apart from these other tours. Now, I'm not. You know, that could change, but I don't see it changing. It hasn't changed in 7 years. I can tell you this: we fished 4 years and never made a nickel. I mean, we're just building it.
Right.
That's why, you know, I talked about the 7-year deal and all. I mean, for a long time, we would drive. I know the first one we fished was at Lake Amistad. Drove down there in the fall. We fished. We didn't even get our expenses paid. We were just making a television show, and that's how MLF started. But you start getting sponsors, and then we started getting a little bit. Then, like the guy that would win, you notice on MLF, it never tells you what you win because we don't ever know what we're going to win.
Right.
Depends on sponsorship. And so I say all that to say this: that the sky is the limit for purses with MLF, and that's why it's going to be when these guys see, when they actually see what these payouts are right now, it's going to knock their socks off.
Mark, do you think the general public will ever see the payout?
I think that's up to us.
Right.
I think that's up to the anglers. I mean, if we want to show it,
Yeah. Because
You know?
I know that the current MLF format payout,
Yeah.
nobody knows.
no, we don't. Yeah,
Nobody
you don't know.
knows.
Yeah, and I'm telling you the truth when I tell you that I don't know.
Right.
I go- we-
No. What I'm saying is like the MLF that's been there for 7 years.
Right,
The general public has no clue if those guys make a dime
Yeah.
or if they.
Yeah.
We don't know.
right. Don't
You
know.
know, we don't know.
And it's worked fine.
Right. I guess it has.
It's worked pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know,
I'll say this: I haven't heard anybody complaining about
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
hey, I've won or
Correct.
But that's an interesting deal. So I mean, we know the main title sponsors and things. Do they work on those per event, and the payouts and things change per event, or are they based? Are they set at the beginning of the year?
They change annually,
Okay.
depending on sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah. 'Cause now, hey, it's a clean sheet of paper now.
yeah.
That's what's the past 7 years we're talking. Now, it's going to be a little more formal now. It's going to be different. But still, I say it again, the sky's the limit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I look forward to the day that, there's, with live and everything, I think the technology, like you said earlier, is getting so much better that and we got into a conversation, or I think it was actually on Jerry McInnes's post that he made yesterday. Mark Hensick, he made a comment saying, that we could never have spectators for the sport. We'd never be MLF or Major League Baseball or NFL. But in reality, with live and the way things are going, that way, and as technology grows, there could be spectators. You can pay $2, a seat, and be able to watch those events. And I think that actually adds to it. That could go back to the anglers, and really grow the sport. But when we get to that point, in the industry, it's going to be awesome. I mean, it's going to be really good. And I think Major League Fishing with this step is getting us closer to that. I think FLW will be fine. BASS will be fine. They'll work on their own things and do their own things. But MLF is just going to be something different that takes us to another realm of possibilities. Okay. Let's see. FLW. Matt Garner made a comment. A couple guys that answered earlier, or we answered questions for earlier. I think it was. I want to go back up and make sure I get you guys to message us. Yeah, Israel Mills wins one of the tackle packs. Derek, get that one to us. I know he always got a good question. Israel's got him. He was in there today. He cleans reels for us. Rick Cole, we got you. Mark, he asked about the elite level going to MLF format. And then Nicholas Warden. Have your own. Yeah, Nicholas Warden. He had the question about your own sponsorships. So we got those taken care of. Let's see. I don't see any more questions. If you guys have them, shoot them to us. We'll get Mark to answer them throughout the event or show here. So just let us know if you have one pop up, and we'll take a gander at it. Up next, though, we want to talk to Mr. Stephen Browning about Logan Martin and how he ended up there. Tell us a little bit about your event, or tell us first about practice, how it went, and then the event.
Practice was, I didn't, that's one of those deals where scheduling kind of had it right there on that holiday, and I just chose to hang out with the family until Monday. Bo and I left and went over Sunday evening, practiced for 2.5 days. And I actually, on days 2 and 3, I just turned the boat over to him. It was one of those deals where, this is what he wants to do for a living. I'm going to give him an opportunity to get on a strange lake, go find his own fish and do, whatever. So Tuesday and Thursday, I just turned the boat over to him. We caught a lot of fish. That little sapsucker he caught the best fish every day between the two of us. And, I don't think I ever caught a 3-pounder the whole time I was there. And, the lake's not very big, and I fished it a handful of times, and there's areas that I just like better than others. So I kind of had a general idea of the areas that I was going to fish. So, I was hoping that Bo would catch enough to kind of get into the year-end championship up at Table Rock. He finished 14th with, we had a dead fish that cost him, it did cost him making the top 12. And, but he, I just never got things going. He was steady Eddie. I was, I just never got in tune with really what was going on with the fishery. It was tough. Justin Atkins won with, I think 38 pounds maybe. And you knew that's what it was going to be. I figured if a guy caught him 13, 14 a day, he was going to be in really good shape. I just never could figure out how to catch those better quality fish. Like I said, caught a lot of fish. Logan Martin is still a good fishery. I don't think it's got the big Coosa River spots that it once had. That's just my opinion. I don't know why. I just don't feel like it did. But you know, it was a good tournament for some. It was not a good tournament for most of us. That just you know, and it didn't take a lot to do well. But that's the kind of tournaments I would rather fish. I like those style of tournaments. We talked about it a few weeks ago in here. You know, I mean, that's the kind of tournaments I like to fish. And you know, because if you ever get on just a little something, man, you can just jump on that horse and run with it. So you know, it was just not my best performance on Logan Martin. I've had some wins, some, you know, several top tens over there over the course of the year. Should have won the Classic '97 there, and just, you know, one fish away. But that's another dog and pony show. But we you know, it was good. You know, both of us have made the championship at
Tell us
yeah,
about
Table Rock should be 16th. I think the 16th through the 18th, maybe the 18th through the 20th. I'm not real sure on that one. You know, it's a long time from now. But you know, it should be good. We've had a little bit of cool weather, a little bit of rain here lately. Hopefully, it'll get those water temperatures down. If we can continue to have a fall, then at that time in October, it should it's either going to be good or it's going to be bad. It's very similar to our lakes around here, you know. I mean, that time of year, it's either they're decent or they're just a grind. So, you know, I imagine a man better have him a whopper flopper tied on and just and his trolling motor on 6 or 7 and blow and go. So you know, it'll be fun. Won't be too fun for the man in the back of the boat, but
Yeah.
you know, at that point in time, I'm not really worried about him. I hate to say that. Don't mean any
Sorry, Bo.
yeah, don't mean any disrespect for anybody that's going to be in the back end of my boat, but it's just a you know, an opportunity for me to make another Bassmaster Classic, and you know, that's my goal going into that. I'm going to actually spend a little bit more time up there. I normally don't practice a whole lot for the open style tournaments. You know, I just kind of treat it like an elite series and with very limited practice. So, but I will go up there and spend 4 or 5 extra days. So, planning on doing that.
Here's an interesting question. I think I know the answer, but Ryan Montgomery asked, will catch and release the MLF style format, for instance, with the law on Ouachita right now on smallmouth, would those be able to be weighed?
Absolutely.
So they could be.
Catch an immediate release.
Well, you got to weigh him.
That's pretty immediate.
Yeah. Yeah. So
There's
so there you go, Ryan.
there's no, I don't think there's a game warden in this state that would write you a ticket for weighing
Weighing
a
it.
smallmouth when you threw him
There
right
might
back.
be. I might know his name, but I'm not going to go there.
It's you know, it's immediate release. So yeah, I think we'd have to get that cleared, but
Yeah.
I think you'd be good.
Yeah. I had a
I
question
don't catch
too.
these smallmouth upper anyway, so
It's the wrong side of the lake.
yeah, I'm on the wrong end of the lake.
I had a question. We were talking about the payouts earlier, and you brought up Stephen Sims said he appreciates the conversation because a lot of the kids don't understand the financial aspects of fishing, and that's right.
A lot of adults don't understand the financial aspect.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. That's right. But you know, the last check, for instance, in say FLW or BS this way, it's usually the $10,000. What kind of percent payback would there be in this new format? Do you know?
Well, I can tell you
Like-
that half the field will get paid.
Half the field, okay, so
Half the field will
half,
get paid.
and
And
then-
I don't have a payout schedule
Yeah.
to tell you, but it's
and we
yeah,
still,
it's half the field.
okay.
yeah.
So still around about the same. I think
Yeah.
it's 50 for both of those.
Yeah.
And we don't know if it's 10 grand or anything until we're at a clean sheet right now, so we don't know about that. But
I don't have that payout in front of me, but it's good.
that last spot, okay.
Well, I don't know about the last spot, but the payout is good.
Yeah. Well, we've all heard the rumors, but
Yeah.
we'll wait until they all come out. Next, Arkansas Bass Team Trail. We had that this weekend on this past weekend on Ouachita River. Have y'all ever been there?
I've never been there.
Never been there on Ouachita River?
Not in the Camden area.
Camden, Mark, nothing.
Never.
It's a pretty neat little place. We went down there. We put in at Camden. You have to run a long ways to get to anything that looks good. And we ran about 50 miles and went in this little backwater area and had that same little 200-yard stretch I'd found about a month ago to catch fish. still holding fish. That was the only place I could get bit. So we went in there, caught fish, going in, had a limit going in, and we brought a chainsaw with us, and we went a little further. We cut a tree that was hanging over. And
That's against the rules in the League
we
Series.
went on in there.
Yeah.
We chopped the tree down, and we went on
Toting
in.
extra gas.
Yeah, and you can't
And-
carry anything to cut with. Yeah, that's out.
Well, we
You
went.
can't even carry an electric knife.
Really?
Yeah, you can't trim bushes, nothing.
Or net.
Well, we went on in there and cold twice after we cut the tree, and then on the way back out, the water fell a little bit, and we had to really push to get over some stuff, but caught them good. We had I say caught them good. We had 10-21, had a fish die, so we ended up with 971, but we caught a lot of fish. It was fun, and what was really cool, and I don't know if y'all fish any places like this or if you've seen a place like this, this good about this, but if you missed one, if you lost a fish, the other guy could flip in there instant and he would catch him every single time. If we lost a fish, you flip in there, you would catch him. And I just made it out that those fish aren't as pressured,
Yeah,
and
they don't see a lot of lures.
it has to be, and that's because that doesn't happen around here.
No.
You especially on a swim jig.
Right.
You miss one on a swim jig or a buzz bait, he's done. He's not eating again, But down there, you literally, if someone missed one, you flipped right back and you caught him, and I thought that was pretty fun. But it was a good event. We first place was 10:51. They had 10:51. They ran a good while too, 30 miles I think. Some local guys that were down there, but they won 3,500. We won 1,500. So it was a good little event.
How many boats they had?
21 boats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't very a lot of boats, but we had a lot of fun doing it. Mr. Bass of Arkansas Banquet and Classic is this weekend. The banquet is something interesting, guys, that we're wanting to do. Starting out annually. Starting this year, full banquet, nice. Similar to say the Forcewood Cup dinner, and I know BSS has one as well with the AOY speeches and things. We're going to do the same thing with Mr. Bass here for Arkansas anglers, and we'll do a Hall of Fame induction. So Mr. Bass of Arkansas, there's a lot of Arkansas anglers, a lot of guys that have up and came, Mark Davis, Stephen Browning, so on, that started out fishing Mr. Bass, and there's a lot of guys that deserve some recognition and some sort of podium, and that's what we want to do. And there's a few guys that are on that ballot that we know are shoe-ins, the Ronnie Everetts, the Jerry Williams, and so on. Those guys are definitely going to be in, but we've got 10 folks on the ballot. We'll be voting on that annually. All the Mr. Bass of Arkansas Classic anglers will vote on that every single year. So it's going to be a fun event. We'll have a big award ceremony, dinner, everything there on Friday night. So will be a lot of fun, and we're going to try to make it big. I just got that I can't do fireworks though, so I was kind of upset with that. I was going to shoot off some fireworks, but they won't let me. But we're going to have a good time and really try to drive it. You'll have to watch also. We're going to do a live view or a live show. Similar to what FLW and BASS does. Probably won't be as great quality, but we're going to do have someone in the boat, every boat of the top 12 guys next Monday. So if you get a chance, watch the Mr. Bass of Arkansas page. We'll be live streaming all 12 top 12 guys in the boat with them, talking to them and doing commentary and stuff. Hopefully I'll get old Stephen Browning over here to help me with some of that commentary, but with those guys that are catching and fishing for a $40,000 boat. So they're going to win a 18 TRX with a 200 horsepower Triton. So it's going to be a good event. We're looking forward to it. Up next, Dardanelle fishing. So since we're going there this weekend, I wanted to talk to Mark and Steven and Mr. Evan over here about fall Lake Dardanelle fishing. I'll start off with Mark. Tell us a little bit, if you were going up there this weekend for Forcewood Cup, this is all public information, so Derek, it's okay. It's public information. Derek's sitting over here worried. I made a no info rule for this this week. You can't receive any information.
He made the championship?
He's in there. He's in it. He threw his A-rig all year.
Yeah.
No, but we have a no info rule, but this is public info, so we're all good. Mark, if you were going up there this weekend, what would you be looking for on Lake Dardanelle in the early fall?
Well, isolated cover, would be one thing I'd be looking for. Just if you don't have time to put out some shallow tops, you know, there's a lot of stuff up there that you can find, logs and stumps and stuff like that. All that isolated cover is going to hold a lot of fish. I was actually up there not long ago, and I'll tell you, the number one thing to look for up there right now is bait fish. If you get around shad, there's fish around them.
Yeah.
If you were, you know, as big stretches of that river, there weren't any shad, there were no bass. And as soon as I got in there and started seeing shad, this has been a while since I've been there, but when I got around shad, if you've seen shad, you just look around, where should they be? Oh, there's a little gravel bar drop, or there's, you know, two isolated stumps. Whatever it was, there was fish on it. And you know, you go to a lot of areas, places I've caught them before, and no bait fish here. There's no fish. So it's fall fishing, you know, on a river system is pretty simple. You got to cover a lot of water. I mean, but there's usually a pattern. It can revolve around a lot of different things, whether there's current or not, or you know whatnot. But shad and isolated cover would be pretty high on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, that for sure, Stephen. You, I mean, that's what I would look for. Is there's big gizzard shad. If you find them dudes, you're gonna win. You know, big gizzard.
You
shad.
like to see them gizzards
Yeah.
jumping like
Yeah.
that.
Jumping like
That's what
porpoising out of the
Yeah,
water.
you're in business when
Yeah.
that you see that right there.
Guarantee it.
Stephen, anything?
That,
You're
yeah,
old river rat.
Yeah, you know, back in the days, I mean, about this time of year is kind of when the bass kind of starting to get off your sandbars and it's cooling down just a hair, and you know, they start getting on that wood, and that's, you know, like Mark said, I would definitely try to find me some type of wood pattern. It just seems like that would hold up, you know, especially this time of year. I fished a lot of championships, you know, on the lower Arkansas, not so much Dardanelle, but on the lower Arkansas River, and that's kind of what we targeted with you know, wood this time of year. So that's, you know, depending on the current. You know, we're getting a little bit of rain around. I don't know if Oklahoma's had much, but you know, I don't think we kind of dodged a bullet, you know, out of that tropical storm, because they were calling for a lot, and you know, could have been a mess up there. But I'm glad that didn't happen. So, you know, I don't foresee there being a ton of current, but yeah, I would definitely try to find me some shallow wood up there someplace and just get after it.
Yeah, we got a question here. It's from world-renowned troller, Mr. Randy Flowers. He wants to know, is Stephen Browning wearing Timmy Biffle shorts?
No, I'm not. You tell him that I'm not.
Kind
I'm
of
just-
personal, isn't it?
Hey, Randy, I appreciate the question, but the deal is, these couches are so comfortable here at Geared that they just eat you up, including your shorts too. So sometimes your shorts do run a little high, you know. That's a good question.
Timmy Buffle is what he named it. Timmy Buffle. Matt Garner said they've had a ton of rain in Oklahoma. Derek, you were up there last. There's a lot of current coming down, or
Not much.
No.
I mean, just a decent amount, like 20, 30,000 float during at times. Just a little bit.
well, Evan, give us yours. You've finished in the top 10 in a few big events up there this time of year. Tell us what you would be doing.
Well, if it was me, I'm gonna give away Derek's little secret. I would definitely, for sure, lock down. But mostly for me personally, that would just be because I spent so much time down there as when I was young, you know. And I know that stuff like the back of my hand. I know every little crook, every little cranny that those fish get in. So personally, that's what I would do. But if I was somebody different, if just a guy going up there, or even for instance a co-angler, I actually finished third in a Mr. Bass as a co-angler up there, and I fished in a classic. And I fished with Jerry Williams the first day and Stevie Howard the second day.
Good
and,
draws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing that I was kind of reminiscing as you guys were talking about it, the thing that I remember is they kept it simple. You know, they, like y'all mentioned, wood and grass. You know, Jerry, he was just flipping wood. You know, just nothing special. I think it was a
Purple
big.
lizard.
No, it wasn't a lizard. I think he was throwing a big bite fighting frog or something like that.
Tube.
Just flipping wood, you know, up around the islands and Spadra. And then Stevie was actually flipping grass for the most part. We ran a lot of different plays, but Stevie was actually flipping grass in the bio is how he ended up catching them. But it just amazed me how they wasn't doing anything fancy. You know, it wasn't like they were, you know, had these secret spots or anything like that, but they just stayed super focused, and they knew they only had to get 5 bites. You know, and as tough as it is everywhere this time of year, that's a good way to approach any tournament, you know, this time of year, especially in September, and especially up there when it can be kind of fickle. It'll either be pretty good or it'll either be kind of tough. So,
Yeah.
but
Well, we have a question. I'm going to send it over to Evan from Randy Flowers. What happened to Carl Jacobson's accent?
what?
I don't know. He said he lost his accent, I guess. I don't know. I haven't heard that one.
That's hilarious. I have no
He's
idea.
lived here for a while now, right? It goes away.
Yeah, I
And
guess so.
So you lose your accent.
He's probably got like a country hick twang now, going with his Australian accent.
He may be Randy Flowers. All right, guys. Make sure you like and share this. It's how you'll win the mystery box. We'll pick anyone. It's a random pick down the list of who shared. If you guys don't have any more questions, that's all we've got. Mark, anything else you want to add about MLF or anything that's coming down the pipe, and when maybe we can expect some of it?
You'll hear more next week.
Okay.
There's a lot of angler meetings going to be taking place here in the next few days, and then next week we'll have some more news, and I'm real excited about it. It's been a long time. 7 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
We've sat around just like we sit around here and talk. We've talked this stuff for 7 years,
Yeah.
and to see it now finally coming to fruition, it's pretty exciting.
Well, before we get off here, how about tell us a little bit about that history. Like, I mean, you know, you've wanted to do this type of thing for a while. Has there been, plans to get other organizations to do something similar, or is it always just been let's just keep it all MLF?
We've bounced it off the other leagues,
Mhm.
and they didn't embrace it.
Yeah.
That's the nicest way. They did. It goes back to that. They couldn't think beyond their little box.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit before the
Yeah.
show about when you're successful like that, you
Yeah.
get the blinders.
Yeah, you're on top.
Yeah.
You're the only show in town.
Yeah.
And it's working, and it's been working for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also, you don't realize, man, maybe it's a little stale and stagnant.
Mhm.
And then here's these bunch of guys that they think they've got this deal put together, but it made a terrific television product. And what it did, what the difference between MLF, one of the biggest difference, I think, from as a viewer, as a fan, it makes a ball game out of it.
Yeah.
It's intriguing. Women watch it.
Yeah.
People that don't fish watch it because
Well, there's
it's
drama.
like watching a
There-
ball.
you can
It's
see
drama.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a scoreboard going, and oh my gosh, I need to catch one more. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been there. So you can't have that type of a dramatic finish at a weigh-in. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the weigh-in. I love weigh-ins, but it's just something different, So it's different. It's unique. It's got a lot of things going for it. Is it perfect? No, nothing's perfect. Will it change? You bet. It'll be tweaked.
I thought we would get this question, but we didn't. And I was wanting to know, is it going to stay the as many fish as you can catch total
Yep.
weight, or is it going to go?
As
Okay.
many bites as you can get.
Talk about that.
Because I want to ask any angler,
Yeah.
when you put your boat in the water, what's in your mind? What do you want trying to get?
Catch fish.
You're trying to get a bite, and that's what MLF is. You're trying to figure out how to get another bite, and you've got to get more bites than your competitors. And if they happen to be bigger, well, that's even better. But it's all about figuring out how to get a bite.
Right. And the more bites you can get, and if they're big, I mean, it adds to it. I mean, that's the
You
so
know,
you don't
Cody.
lose the aspect of the biggest
Yeah.
five. You still have that.
You do, and when we first, one of the things that worried us, we was thinking, oh, this might turn out to be like a spinning rod deal, like finesse, but it's not. Now there's some of that, but you notice most of them are one like braid and catching big. I mean, it's termed bass fishing. Every now and then, it's a spinning rod deal. I kind of like spinning rod deal myself. but you know.
If you need, what I always thought was interesting is you knew where you stood. I thought that was something that was really, neat for the anglers because it helps with decision making. As long as
Yes.
everybody knows how everybody's doing, it's fine.
Yes.
If one person knows how people are doing, that's not fair. But
Yep.
if everybody knows how everyone's doing,
Yep.
it helps you with decision making, and it adds to the drama, adds to the hey, he needs to catch one little one. He can go throw a turd worm over here and
Yep.
catch one little one and take the lead.
Yeah,
So-
and then another thing that helps you with that live scoring, you get out there, and of course, there's no practice, no research, you don't know where you're going, you don't even know most of the time if we're up north, you don't even know what kind of fish are in there, you don't know if they're largemouth, smallmouth, you don't know what's there. So you get going, and if that score tracker is lighting up and them boys are catching them, I mean, buddy, you better be getting in gear. But if they're not, then you'll start backing off and fishing offshore. And, as long as the score, as long as they're not catching them, because they're all up there on the bank most of the time, I'll start backing out and fishing and looking out, and I'm out there graphing. So, boy, as soon as that guy starts got an update, you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
I gotta get something going. So it's a ball game.
What do
It
you-
makes a ball game.
Yeah, I
out of
think
it.
it also kind of hurts a little bit because there was an incident with Ike and Ellie this last year on the show. I think it was on the show. He went.
Oh,
he
surely
went
not.
right beside.
Surely not an incident with Iconelli.
He went right beside the guy and started fishing like right. And I know
That's
that.
in Roman candle tournament.
There you go. Yeah, we were gonna do that, but he pulled up right next to him and started fishing because he was catching them and lighting up the
Right.
scoreboard.
Right.
Is there anything I guess that would prevent that from happening in the future, or
Nope.
is that part of it that's like a defense type thing?
Part of it.
Okay.
It's part of it. Now they may have some of those after hour. Like they have post game on baseball. We may have post game on MLF.
Right.
This is Mike and Nelly
Standing
getting
in the
whipped
locker
out behind the woodshed out there.
Standing at the locker.
Yeah.
Well, that could be that would be a good way to draw a crowd is get just put the octagon right there at the at the boat ramp. And
Yeah.
Anybody wants to jump in there and pay for admission. Put it in the big top.
Yeah, but I mean, this really, to me, it changes a lot as far as the format being totally different. It would change the way I fish. Knowing that I have to catch numbers versus size now. For the most part. But thinking about aspects like that, you do hear that scoreboard ding, 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 and but Steven, he's a river guy. He's throwing a square bill on wood. Well, I got my square bill right here. I'm gonna start throwing it. Just stuff like that. I can see where it could totally change a whole lot of even who is the most successful. I think a guy like KVD, where you see him just blast them, he could be even better than he already is, but a guy, say, not that Hackney don't catch a lot of fish, but you see him typically target bigger fish, and if he can catch 7 a day, he's going to be very good in the bass format. But in this format, it could be totally different. So who knows?
Here's a really good question. I've got
From Randy.
Nope, not from Randy this time. Might as well be. But Clark Ream asks,
Well, be.
he didn't ask it this way. I'm embellishing a little bit. Who's the baddest dude on tour? His question was, who would your money be on in an MMA fight after the weigh-in? So who's the baddest dude? Is it Keith Poche? Who would win an MMA fight? Stephen Browning.
It just depends on who was fighting who. You got middleweights, you got heavyweights, you got lightweights, you got everything in between. So,
How would you do?
How would I do? It just depends on how mad that son of a gun made me. And
Mark Howard said Ish Monroe for sure.
I'm not going to touch that.
How big is the range?
Mark is
too old
he's
to fight.
no he's back on it now. He's
Yeah.
back out
The
of
thing about him though, he don't fight fair. He'll pick up a pipe wrench or a tire tool or something like that.
When you get old, you learn.
You learn a few tricks, don't you, Mark?
Yes, right.
yeah.
There was another one. Israel Mills is a funny one. Will it? And Mark probably can't answer this one because his wife's here, but Stephen can. Will it have women hosts like Allie Akers? Will it continue to have women hosts like Allie?
Don't ask me. I'm not involved with this thing.
Allie's a pretty girl. I imagine that she'll be around.
She'll be there. All right.
She's a sweetheart.
Brian Red said James Watson would win the MMA fight.
I don't think so.
He'd make them laugh.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, that's all. That's all we've got tonight, guys. Browning, anything extra before we get out of here?
That's
Anybody
it.
wanna-
That's it.
shoot out
Looking
to?
No, I don't know anything. Thank you, Mac McClanahan.
Mac, well, we forgot the pork rinds.
Yeah, my only
That was his
stipulation.
only request.
I've got to
was-
have the pork, the
Gotta bring-
cracklings. I want cracklings.
I'll be honest with you. I've got about a half-eaten
Man.
bag out there in the truck.
You
I-
sorry
I
dog. You know I
forgot.
got like 2 crumbs the last time I was here,
I forgot all about them.
and I think you eat the whole
I-
bag that
I
time.
did eat just about
Yeah,
the whole
bag.
Well, Mac McClanahan, you got to get us some more Mac's cracklings. So thanks for that. Anything else, Evan? Anything you got? You want to show us some of the products before we roll out of here?
I'll make it pretty quick, guys. Just we've got the Tula SVs back in stock. A lot of places are out of those. We do have those in stock in both 6 and 7 gear ratio. New owner cover shot, drop shot hooks. That's going to be a big deal next week with Hamilton, the super tournament coming to town. A lot of guys throwing a drop shot. That's that new silky gray that Zowire finish that we've been talking about. Is really good hook penetration. You guys have probably seen this. This is the Strike King 1.5 deep diver, the square bill. I'm pretty sure Derek could probably catch him some fish on that if he takes it this weekend. We do still have a lot of jackhammers in stock. A lot of places don't have those. So you guys, if you need some, we do have a few select colors still in stock. I think Steven's told us a million times about how good those are. Just some stuff you guys already know about, but some kind of cool horny toad colors. We've got yellow, we've got new raspberry shad, and of course gray ghost. We've got all those things. That's again not new stuff, but that's just kind of some specialty stuff that you guys might be looking for if you're going fishing in the fall or if you're coming to join the super tournament next week. So that's pretty much it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and share this dude so you have a chance at the mystery box. Some good prizes in there this week. Just share it around. Tell everybody about us while we continue helping power your passion, guys. That's what we do. So thanks a lot for watching, and catch you guys later.
See you guys.